All right. Good evening, my friends. Welcome to Main Event Fantasy. My name is Nick, aka Perfect 216. It says it right here. This is Main Event Fantasy. I appreciate you guys joining. If it's your first time here, please drop a like and a subscribe. I go live every night between 10 and midnight. I should say almost every. And we're doing best ball drafting, which I will go over here in just a second. But we do it right here on Underdog Fantasy. If you've never been on Underdog Fantasy, I promise you're missing out. This is the place to do it. This is how you can prepare for your redraft leagues. This is how you get into some big time tournaments, win you some money. But it's also how you can draft hundreds of teams. And it's my favorite way to draft. So let me load up a lobby and we'll get into it. There's a lot of contests out right now, and I'll definitely be getting into a bunch of them. If you've never been on Underdog Fantasy, these are best ball drafts, which means there's no time commitment during the regular season. You draft your team, and the best players play automatically. No trades, no waiver wires, none of that, which means you can draft plenty of teams, and you're automatically entered in to play. You can see there are $10 entries. There's a $1 entry, $5 entries. There's a $200 entry. There's different types of contests. There's a 40th. There's a 500. And then, of course, there is Best Ball Mania, the world's largest fantasy football tournament. And $672,000 will, 672,000 entrants will be in this tournament. You can maximum draft 150 teams. We will max all these teams. There is $15 million in prizes, $2 million to first place, $1 million to second, $500,000 to third, and so on. Even if you finish 112th place, you're getting your money back. How it works is you get into a pod weeks 1 through 14. And once you advance through that pod, week 15 is the quarterfinals, week 16 is the semifinals, and week 17 is the championship week. And you can see here the round advancement highlighted on your screen. 2 out of 12 will advance in the weeks 1 through 14, 1 out of 13 in the weeks 15, 1 out of 16 in week 16, and then a 539-seat final. We are going to start here tonight ripping some Best Ball Mania drafts. We've got 43 more shots at this bad boy, so we're going to dive in right now. If you are live with us, we appreciate you being here. You can join in our drafts with us. And this draft filled very quickly, so it is already getting ready to roll. We drew the 112. And I don't mind being at the 112 at all. It's a great place to be. It's one of my favorite places to be on the board right now is on the back half because I feel like I can get 2 round 1 talents in the same draft. So for those of you that don't know and have not heard about Underdog, first of all, you're living under a rock. Time to get you dug out. There's a map on the screen for you. If you live in any of these states that are yellow, you are eligible to play an Underdog Fantasy as long as you meet the age requirements, and I highly encourage you to give it a shot. If you use my promo code PERFECT216, that's my name, on Underdog Fantasy when you sign up, you will get a 50% discount on your, 50% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $1,000. So that's a lot of money that you could be thrown into your account for free just for joining Underdog Fantasy. And I highly, highly encourage it. Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb starting us out here. Tonight we are talking a little bit about crushing our fantasy football drafts. And I've drafted over 500 teams so far this year. And we're going to keep on rolling. I'm going to get into probably over 700 by the time the the season starts. If you want to prepare for your redraft leagues, this is really the best way to do it. You can get into these tournaments for all those ranges I showed you, but also allows you to continue to draft teams. So when you get into your regular redraft league with your buddies, you will be able to crush them like a bug because you'll be very experienced where everyone else has not even drafted a single team, or they've been doing these mock drafts against bots. And we all know that that is not the right way to draft teams. So let's see what's going to show up here tonight at the 112. I am really strongly hoping that Devon Achane makes it back to me, along with whoever else. Achane's my favorite turn player. And he's been rising up draft boards. We'll see what REK does here at the 111. My man takes St. Brown, so I love it. So we're going to go, let's do this. Let's do a double running back start. We'll take Devon Achane and Derrick Henry as our start here, and that might be a lot of fun to start this way. Shamrock, my man, welcome in, brother. Good to see you here tonight. Hopefully you're having an awesome weekend. I guess it's not the weekend yet. Depends on what you call the weekend. Just got in from my 9-year-old is playing baseball, and he had baseball practice tonight. So we're out handling business on the baseball field. Hopefully you had a good week and nothing too crazy happening to you. I'm feeling good tonight. I'm trying to prepare myself mentally here. The last, we've got really 2.5 weeks of drafting. My regular redraft leagues are scheduled for August 30th and 31st. And my dynasty leagues are, I think they're around the same day. I might even be drafting multiple teams in the same day, but I got to look at that. But I am excited for, this year, and I've got a lot more drafting to do, my friend. I saw that there is a Great Dane 2 that has dropped, and that is a $200 entry, and I am contemplating jumping into that one tonight or tomorrow, and dropping some big money into a big money contest. So that could be fun. I don't think I've had an Achane Henry start, so this is kind of a fun way to do it, and want to see how this shakes out. Your redraft league is Labor Day weekend as well. Yeah, I think most people are going to end up drafting a Labor Day weekend. You got the holiday, it's the weekend. I want to make sure that we're ready, and I generally don't want to start drafting my redraft leagues until after the preseason's done, so I can kind of steer clear of those crazy injuries. I'd hate to be the guy that drafts Jamar Chase and all of a sudden he rips an ACL, knock on wood, rips an ACL and is out for the season. And then it's like, all right, my redraft league is shot because my number one pick, went down and I was impatient and my league mates wanted to draft now instead of later. So I guess if anyone needs a pro tip for redraft leagues is stop getting impatient and drafting too early. You're just taking too much risk there, and then you just kind of kill the fun, because even if it's not your team, somebody in your team is going to have an injury, that might affect it. And, I don't feel like that's a level playing field, How long do you think this Rashee Rice suspension is going to be? I've said all along that I think it's going to be 6 weeks. That's kind of standard for what he's accused of and what he pled guilty to. Oh, hang on one second. Coming around. I kind of wanted Devontae Adams there. I'm not going to lie. Go my man George Kittle. And we'll do Xavier Worthy here. So to start, Devon Achane, Derrick Henry, Xavier Worthy, George Kittle. So on Rice, I think that he's going to be, 6 games. I've heard there's been examples that I've looked up where it looks like it could be 10 games possibly. And that does scare me a little bit, because we know for a fact now he won't be suspended games 1 through 4 because the hearing's not until after those first 4 weeks. So I suppose there's a world where he actually doesn't get suspended this year and he actually ends up getting suspended next year. But I don't know. I think that's a little less likely. So if it's 6 games and let's just say it's weeks 5 through, 11, that's not terrible. But if it's 10 games and it's a little delayed, my biggest fear is that he could end up being out and suspended during the fantasy football playoffs. And that genuinely does scare me. But it's kind of like that risk of, is it worth trying to take him and hoping it's only 6 games, or thinking maybe he doesn't get suspended at all until next year? I don't know. I'm not excited about drafting him at all. When I see him on the board, I don't get excited. I feel like I don't need him, but I also don't want to be the guy that's completely out on him, and then all of a sudden something crazy happens, and he's going to play all season long. Wow. Congratulations to all the people that took him in round 6 and, might win the league. So I'm a little nervous about it, but I think at minimum it'll be 6 weeks. And I think that's where it's going to fall. That's just my opinion on it. I don't know how they don't discipline him, but it is a little bit weird in mid-season to have somebody play 4 games. And then, I'm surprised they kicked us down the road to 4 weeks into the season. I want to look this up, but I believe there's precedent where when this happens mid-season, they don't penalize the player and the team in the current season, and they they kick it to the next year. So I can see a world where we somehow get Rashee Rice, who doesn't get suspended until next year. I'm probably in the minority on that thought process, but I kind of have to, forecast out what that could be, right? I don't want to say that can't be the case, because it definitely could be. All right, board's coming around. I was really looking to click on my man Zay Flowers there. Oops. These are all some guys that I think I'm interested in. Don't need another running back yet. We went to anchor. So my ranks have it this way. Their ranks have it this way. I will go Sticky Ricky. And I'm going to go Diggs. I'm going to get another share of Diggs here. I don't know. I'm changing it up a little bit. I feel like doing some fun things tonight and kind of making some things happen, maybe drafting a little differently. Still getting the players I like, but maybe building a little bit differently just to mix it up as I'm getting here in the end. I've got 42 more shots after this one at Best Ball Mania, so I definitely want to make them count. So I'm trying to be really cognizant of making sure I'm getting guys that I really like and builds that I like, and just trying to not blow $25 on any of these teams, and completely waste it. So, so Rice went 55 here. That's about where I've taken him when I've taken shots. My issue is okay, Rice versus Waddle. They go next to each other a lot lately. Let me back up. Rice versus DK Metcalf, I want Metcalf. Rice versus Devonta Smith, I want Smith. Rice versus Waddle is where I start to get a little bit unclear or cloudy. Probably Waddle, but he's going to play the whole season theoretically. Has plenty of upside. I'm a big Zay Flowers guy. I like Odunze. I like Pearsall. But I think that's the range where you can kind of consider taking him. Is he's probably should definitely go before Rome and Ricky Pearsall and Chris Olave and folks. Maybe even before Travis Hunter. I think I like Zay Flowers over him. So I think for me, it would probably be I'd rather take Devonta Smith, Zay Flowers, and probably Waddle over Rashee Rice, and then Hunter, Odunze, Pearsall in that next group. That's probably where I'm going to keep him. Did Royals' value go up? Not really. He's still kind of been a round 18 pick or not drafted at all guy. He hasn't really moved much. He did in the beginning when the news came out. There's a little bit of movement there, but I don't think that and he's so down in the depth chart that I realize they could make use of him, but I don't feel good about it. I don't have a lot of Royals on my team at all. Catch myself picking him up at the end of draft sometimes. He looked great in camp, some camp footage. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a bad player. I think that maybe next year he'll get enough value to pick him in the later rounds if he gets some, shows some signs this year. But I don't want to draft him like some of the other players that have been drafted, like Sky Moore type, where, oh, well, great, he could be this guy, and then you draft Sky Moore early or wherever, and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't barely see the field, those kinds of things. So I just want to be a little bit careful. They've got a lot of people on that Kansas City team for him to get past. All right, so I think we're going to grab Patrick Mahomes here, pair him up with Worthy, be our first quarterback. I like that. And then I have Shakir rated higher, but I have so much Shakir, and I don't have a lot of downs, and he is technically better at ADP. So we'll go ahead and grab Downs here. He did have a little boo-boo at practice, but I'm hearing he's going to be okay. Ideally, when I've got Ricky Pearsall and George Kittle, I'd like for us to get a little bit of a Brock Purdy bringback on the other end. So we'll just kind of click him now and hope he somehow makes it back around to us. Yeah, Royals. I think, and let me look this up while we're waiting. I believe on the depth chart he's 5 right now. So even if Rashee Rice misses 6 weeks, for 6 weeks he's maybe the 4, which doesn't make me feel like he's going to have a tremendous ceiling. And you got to remember, they got Travis Kelce. They throw to the running backs. I don't see him getting a lot of, let's see. Yeah, so you got Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown. Then you have Juju Smith-Schuster, Royals, who's the rookie. Sky Moore still there. They do have Noah Gray, backup tight end, who they do throw to. Tyquan Thornton is still there, technically behind Juju as the X. So there's just guys there that I think can get in his way. I think he'll get on the field because they want to see him, but I do think it's a little bit – he's not my favorite pick down there. Like when I get to round 18, I want to pick guys that are – there's still guys down there that are the number 2 or number 3 on their offenses that are going to be on the field. I don't want to pick the number 5 and hope he gets on the field, if that makes sense. So that's why I don't get a lot of him. Sorry, I kind of want to look. I went a little long on Royals there. What's going on with the Packers wide receiver room? Hopefully they're all ready. Yeah, they're just getting banged up. The Packers. I don't know why that, for whatever reason, every year we go through this with the Packers. And like I pulled up their depth chart. There's like 7 people questionable in the offense. There's like 7 more on the defense, a couple on special teams. Like everybody's questionable. You got Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs. They're all questionable. Or actually, Watson's out, but we kind of knew that. I just think it's messy. But that's a good sign for Golden. I think Jaden Reed will be okay, unless his injury lingers. I think Dobbs will be okay. I think they're just being a little bit careful. But right now, I had Reed as a guy I prefer over Golden, but now Golden's going up draft boards, and I totally understand why. All right, Brock Purdy's coming back around. Come on. Come to Daddy. Come to Papa. we want to, once we grab Brock Purdy here and we grab Mahomes, that's going to finish us off at quarterback for sure. Unless something crazy happens. Like if Drake May fell like 2 rounds, then maybe we'd still take a third. But oh, Brock Purdy sniped from us right before by a guy who has absolutely no San Francisco 49ers players. Fantastic. That's what we like to see. We're going to grab Rashee Rice here as our 5th wide receiver. And then because he did that, we will pivot over. We'll swing on down here. We'll grab Drake May, pair him up with Stephon Diggs, and we'll keep it rolling anyway. And maybe we were meant to have May instead. I really, really hate when we get guys like this who grabbed a second quarterback and didn't even have a 49er. Now he gets Ayuk, so I guess he does pair him up with somebody, but I don't really understand what he's doing there. And now he's really struggling at running back because he went 7 wide receivers, 2 quarterbacks, no tight ends, and is only running back of the team through 9 rounds. Actually, through 10 rounds is Mason. So, yeah, brother. I know you're trying to get cute, but bad way to play it. I don't like it. Stellar team so far. Thanks. I feel good about it. I feel like we're pretty balanced across the board. We got some decent values. I like Kittle in the 4th round, not the 3rd. However, I really wanted Adams here. I was going to go Adams Worthy at the turn was what I was going to do, but Adams went. So instead we pivot over to Kittle. I thought about, a lot of times I go one of these quarterbacks here. So I thought about, one of these guys, but I want to get more Kittle. I was listening to an article. If you've ever heard of the Fantasy Footballers, I listen to them. They're not much into, they don't do any best ball work, but they do a little, but they're more into redraft stuff. And they had a My Guys episode, who their My Guys were, and George Kittle was on one of them, and it made me just revisit thinking about George Kittle. I disagreed with, 3 or 4 or 5 of their My Guys, but Kittle I did not disagree with, and I liked the data that they put behind it and some of the conversations they had, which made me rethink getting more of him. Way to adjust and adapt. Yeah, man. I appreciate that. Speaking of adapting, let's see what's coming around. All right. Actually, this would be fun. Get a pass catching running back potentially. To get a 3rd running back. Nope. Sniped again. Right. So like we have these New England receivers here that we could double stack with, but I really, really, really don't like go Trey Benson. I really don't like reaching on guys like this that I think are going to fall. It's when they don't fall that I guess I'm just going to grab Jake Ferguson here and get another tight end. We'll be done at tight end with George Kittle and Jake Ferguson. We should have enough juice there. We'll see what the draft holds our way, but I feel decent about it. I've been getting more Kyle Pitts lately, and that day that I saw the feedback from Penix about Pitts, I'm still stuck on it. And I know it's just one interview that he did, but just the way he spoke to the media about Kyle Pitts. And I really liked Kyle Pitts as a prospect, and he never really broke out. I'm still holding on to that hope that maybe this year in the 13th, 14th round, Kyle Pitts is the right guy. And it feels like the value is good to take a chance on a very athletic guy. And they don't really have a great wide receiver core outside of, Drake London. So maybe this is the year he absolutely crushes. I don't know. I'm not going to be too crazy on him, but I do like him. You got any redraft leagues coming up? Or have you already done some of yours? There goes the New England pair. Douglas and Williams go back to back next to each other. Interesting. Very interesting. While we're waiting, let's pop this bad boy up. So for those of you that don't know, this is the best ball weeks 15, 16, 17, the best ball playoffs, week 17 being the finals. So I'm really looking at what teams play what teams in week 17. This is the chart I use. So we have New England, for example. Ideally, we would have a New York Jet on our team. And, so we can have some bringbacks there. Don't have to have it with the quarterbacks, but it's ideal. And then we know we have Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, I said Pittsburgh. Oh, my gosh. Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs play the Broncos. And then San Francisco plays the Bears. So those are a little bit on what we're looking at when we start to look at correlation pieces for a week 17 bring back. All right, let's put this down here. Let's take a quick peek at what's coming around. Spears is falling. He's been falling, and I think I want to keep scooping him up now that he's falling. But see, maybe I'd go ahead and get, I know I'm only going to need 5 running backs with this team. So I think I might get Hunter Henry here and end up with a 3 tight end build instead. I think that's probably the better way to go. Yeah, we're going to do that. So we're actually going to go ahead and grab Spears as our 4th running back and Hunter Henry as the 3rd tight end. Double stack with Drake May. Really strong tight end room now. I don't feel like we're sacrificing too much because we'll stay stopped at 2 quarterbacks. We're going to stop at 5 running backs because we have 2 anchors. And that'll allow us to still take 8 wide receivers. And we'll end up with a 2-5-8-3 build. And that's a pretty strong build when you consider the balance that we have. So we just need to pound some wide receivers here. We need 3 more of those and 1 running back to finish out the draft. And we'll see if there's definitely some like New York Jets players we could pick, to throw them in there to sprinkle for a bring back. Not really anything left on Chicago. They go too early. So that's probably not going to play. And there's definitely a Denver guy that I like. If you know my round 18 picks of players that is on the list for Denver, you'll know who I'm talking about. Are there any high value players you just don't think the value is worth it? So when you say high value, I assume you mean like earlier round players, right? That you that I don't think. We can look through it. So Nico Collins is the first one that I'll tell you that I don't see his value the way I do. I have him as a 2nd round talent guy, not a 1st round. I think I have him as my 17th overall player, and everyone else is taking him in the 1st round. So that's one big take. Let's see. Ladd McConkey. I think he's a 3rd round guy, not a 2nd round guy. When he gets down here to like the 1-2 turn, the 2-3 turn, that's the only time I ever take him. Especially now that they've signed Keenan Allen to run first offense. I think he's talented, but I don't think there's going to be enough there for him. But I think he'll be okay. But I think he's at his ceiling. Like he's not going to be Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb. Or Justin Jefferson. I don't see the volume being there to allow him to. He would have to absolutely crush on efficiency alone because he's not going to get that kind of volume. They're not a pass first offense. So I'd rather get him in the 3rd round, not the 1st round, not the beginning of the 2nd round. And I'd rather take Drake London and AJ Brown over him by far. All right, let's scroll this down real quick, and I'll come back to that. We need a couple of wide receivers. We need one more running back. So we're strictly wide receiver running back for the rest of this draft. You know what we could do? We could get a Chicago player. That's the only Chicago player left that I wouldn't mind taking. For the San Francisco piece of a bring back, I wouldn't hate taking Roschon. I don't have a ton of him. I don't love him, but kind of makes sense for our team here the way we're building this out to get a little piece of my man here. I'm not in on Kyle. I don't have a problem with him. I'm just not really in on him. I think Roschon will have some opportunities this year to show. So now we're done with running back. We are strictly wide receiver all the way out. So I'm going to keep grabbing the guys that Michael Wilson. So I get Michael Wilson here, and understand he's the wide receiver 2 in an offense that's pretty good. They're going to be hopefully an ascending offense, plays in good weather. He's going to have opportunities because he's going to be on the field, and they do like to throw to him in the end zone. Got a lot of red zone targets last year, so I like getting him here. I want to queue up a couple guys. I want to get Troy Franklin here at the end. He will be a bring back for our Kansas City Chiefs, and I think he's going to be a great selection around 18 for any draft. He is Bo Nix's former college teammate. He made a good connection, finished the last season strong, and great camp reports. I like Bo Nix to throw to Troy Franklin more this year. And then Josh Reynolds. Right now, Josh Reynolds is the wide receiver 2 on the depth chart for the Jets. Actually, let me pull it up, make sure that hasn't changed since the last time I looked, which was the other day. But I believe they see him as the number 2 in that offense. Yeah, he still is. Allen Lazard is the 3, and he's questionable. And then you got behind him Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith, Malachi Corley, Xavier Gibson. I don't think these guys are stellar players. So Josh Reynolds should see a lot of volume and should be on the field a lot. So I think these will probably be our last 2 picks on this team, and we'll feel pretty good about it when that happens. You mentioned having so much Sam Darnold. As do you. It's that JSN stack, I think. Honestly, I think for me it's not just JSN. It's also Cooper Kupp, because when you look at the tiers of players where these guys fall, there's a tier break, and Cooper Kupp almost ends a tier right here. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, so we're going around here, and there's still Godwin now, but he used to go before, right? And then I really like Shaheed. I like Bateman where they go, but there's still a little bit of a tier break, and I think Cooper Kupp's kind of belongs there. So I end up falling into Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver 5 or 6 on some teams, and so if I get sniped on quarterbacks, and y'all know that other than the elite quarterbacks, I do not want to reach on quarterbacks. I really, really, really hate doing that. I think there's plenty of ways to pull your teams out. And so I end up getting some more of him because of where he's going. I will say this. I'm trying to intentionally stop drafting him because simply because I think that I saw the preseason game with, what is his name? Jalen Milroe. And I know he's the wide receiver. I mean, the quarterback 3, but man, the guy's got some juice. His arm looked pretty good. If he somehow gets in the game, if Sam Darnold stinks or their team just stinks and they end up having a losing season, we could be in the playoffs of fantasy football looking at Jalen Milroe going absolutely crazy, and nobody's got him, and we're going to wish we did. So I actually am going to try and grab a few teams before I'm done here with Jalen Milroe as a 3rd quarterback. So, all right, let's recap this team and get into another one. Patrick Mahomes, Drake May, quarterback, Devon Achane, Derrick Henry, Trey Benson, Tajay Spears, Roshan Johnson at the running back. Wide receiver, Xavier Worthy, who is also stacked up with my man Patrick Mahomes. Sticky Ricky Pearsall there. Stephon Diggs, Josh Downs, Rashid Shaheed, Michael Wilson, Troy Franklin, Josh Reynolds at wide receiver. George Kittle, Jake Ferguson, Hunter Henry at tight end. We did double stack Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs with Drake May. We have Chicago here with a bring back with the 2 San Francisco players. New England, we have Josh Reynolds as a bring back. Troy Franklin as a bring back against Kansas City in week 17. So really solid team. Really like it. Let's hope this continues into the next one. So 42 more shots at $2 million. Almost the fill level is pretty full. We're at 69, almost 70% full. So it's definitely continuing to rise. If you want to get in the draft, I would say draft now. I forgot to do the countdown, but it looks like it's already full. We get the 101. And there's only one man for the job at the 101, and it's Ja'Marr Chase. So we will go with my man Chase. I feel good about the drafts tonight. I feel really good. I think I see my cat. She's been trying to get in here. Keeps opening, closing the door. And not with the thumbs, but it keeps bumping it or whatever. All right. Draft starting here in 7 seconds. And when we have that happen. So we've first draft tonight, we drafted at the 12. Now we're on the complete opposite side of the board at the 1. And we'll see which. I'm kind of curious, what team are we going to like better? The 1 or the 12? And I feel like I'm going to say it's going to be the 12. I really think that as the more drafts I've done and, being as many as I've done, I really like drafting at the 10, 11, 12 range this year because I feel like you're getting 2 round 1 talents. So when you look at the 2v2s, would I rather have Ja'Marr Chase and say, I don't know, Jonathan Taylor or Ja'Marr Chase, who else is going over there at the turn? Ja'Marr Chase, Josh Jacobs, Ja'Marr Chase, Tyreek Hill, Ladd McConkey, Bucky Irving. Would I rather have that combo or would I rather have, Devon Achane, Malik Neighbors, Puka, Devon, Puka, Amon-Ra, I've even started teams intentionally, Drake London, AJ Brown. Like these guys are round 1 type talent that you're going to feel good about, where not that I don't feel good about the other guys. I don't know. I'd rather have that over Ladd McConkey, right? I don't know. I think I just like my teams better when I draft on the right side of the board right now. Although I don't hate being at like 6 or 7, like especially now because I can get Justin Jefferson at 7, 8 range. I love that. I'll take him there every time. Every single time. So this draft is fairly normal, except McCaffrey goes at 5. That's a little early. Jefferson pushes to 7. Achane gets drafted in the first round here at 10. What percent of Chase do you have so far? It's hard to get to the 101. Let's look. I think I've got a good amount because I've gotten the 101 a lot this year. I think he's pretty high up. And actually, look, Justin Jefferson, 12%. I'm getting a lot of him. Yeah, 10.3. So I'm over average on Ja'Marr Chase because when I go 101, I take him every time. So that's a pretty good amount of Ja'Marr Chase for sure. And this draft will add to that, now that we're here. All right. We are 6 picks away See, this is like I want to get like some disgusting start. Like I love AJ Brown to fall to the end or something one day, but that just doesn't happen. Just does not happen. But there's Lad McConkey. I was mentioning him about the gap there. ADP at 20. I value him at my rank is 27. You know, Bucky Irving, same thing. I have an ADP or ADP is 21. I have him at 28. There's some guys that I just don't get a lot of. T. Higgins should be a third round guy. They have him at 25. I see him at 32. So these guys, it's not that I don't like the player. I just don't like where they go on their ADP. So I end up not getting a lot of them. See what Javids or whatever his name is does. And then Frisky Whiskey. What a name. What a name. He goes Chase Brown. I really hope, I kind of want to do a Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs combo here. If both of them are still there, that would be fun. Dang it, he takes Taylor. Okay, so my fun has been eaten. I will go ahead and get Josh Jacobs. And then I will go. I don't feel like I go too much on this side of the board with Lamar. So let's do a fun little thing with Lamar here. So we'll do Lamar Jackson, Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase start on the left side of the board. I'm trying to mix up a little bit of my teams because this is probably the only time I've ever had Lamar Jackson on the team with Jacobs or Chase. Because if I get Jackson, it's usually middle or right side of the board. So, and Frisky, he hits 3 running backs in a row. My man. He was feeling Frisky in the running back room. Wondering how the Gesicki Fant tight end workload is going to shake out. Yeah, I think they're still going to prefer Gesicki, and I think he's going to have the predominant amount of work based on whoever's healthy, but I don't love either one. But I'm so sorry. It's been a long week. But with Gesicki, I think that I took a lot of him before Fant joined, so that kind of stunk. So I kind of stopped taking him. But now I like getting Mike Gesicki in round 18 when I have Joe Burrow. It just kind of feels pretty good considering, to get him around 18 in a very high pass volume offense, and maybe he's still the dominant pass catcher. I don't know. I try not to get a lot of him. I'll just be happy with the exposure I have on the Burrow teams that I have, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, so be it. I don't think I'm going to be drafting Noah Fant at all. I might have him on a couple teams, but that was before he got traded, so they won't even correlate, and that's okay. Somehow I don't feel like Noah Fant's the guy I need to win $2 million. It could be the case that is who I need. And then we'll be coming back to this live stream and going, you know what, Nick, you probably should have just took some Noah Fant there in round 18, right? But yeah, that won't be what I'm aiming towards at all. So I just realized, it's nice when you look at the week 17, these thing I pulled up here. We did get a Green Bay Baltimore stack for week 17. Green Bay and Baltimore Ravens do play each other, which gives us a little bit of an advantage. So when we take Lamar here and pair him up with Josh Jacobs, gives us a little week 17 boost if this team somehow manages to make it to the Best Ball Mania finals. I do get a lot of Chase, and Cincinnati players on the left side of the board that pair up with Arizona because it's so easy to get Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison on that same team, and so many teams do it. But I do think that's going to be a little bit rare to have these 3 players on the same team and this combination of Jacobs and Lamar. So kind of feels good to do that. Do you think Najee will come back? I heard somewhere that Hampton will be splitting time under Harbaugh. Yeah, I think they were designed to be a complete split for the most part. the all year, other than the eye thing. I think Najee is going to be fine. I think you got to still be a little concerned, and I'm not overdrafting him, but I am happy that he's falling a little bit because I don't mind taking him. All right, draft's coming around. Here's another one of those situations where you're going to see my ranks are very different than some of the other ones. Like if you scroll down, I have DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith over Sutton, Rice, DJ Moore, McLaurin. I think that the value there in the data tells me that those guys are going to have better, are more likely to have better seasons. So if I click on my ranks, it completely resorts them. And there's not like a whole lot of extra value here. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with my rankings and trust that I'm right. And I'm actually going to get Zay Flowers to pair up with Lamar Jackson on this side of the board. So we got Lamar Jackson stacked up with Zay Flowers with Josh Jacobs as a running back. That's a nice week 17 bring back there. We set ourselves up for, and then Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, which should be high volume, dominant target catchers on the team. So this is kind of a unique left side of the board team. So I'm kind of liking what I'm doing here. It feels kind of good. But I do think, and they've said Najee's been practicing and he's doing things and all that, so he's trying to stay in shape. Najee's never really been an injury-prone guy either. And even if, let's just say he struggles in the first 4 weeks of the season, I'm totally making this up, right? You still got, 2.5, 3 weeks before the season even starts. Then let's just say he misses another 2-3 weeks in the beginning of the season. Who cares? You may not need him for the first few weeks anyway. What we need him for is we need him to crush for the fantasy football playoffs in the back half of the season more than we do the beginning, especially where he's going in drafts. You're drafting him as like your running back 4, running back 5. So when he's going as that kind of a running back, it's completely high upside because he's talented on a run-first offense that's going to be pretty good. And they went out and got him. They knew they had a chance to draft another running back in this draft like Hampton, and they still went out and got Najee. So I'm very optimistic on Najee. If he didn't have the eye thing, I would probably have him as my most drafted running back. I was drafting him so much, and he's still in my top 5, I believe. We can look at that here at the end too if we'd like. If anyone's just joining, I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you wouldn't mind, throw a like on the stream and subscribe. I will go live as much as I can almost every night between 10 p.m. and midnight usually. Drafting right here on best ball teams on Underdog Fantasy. If you click my link in the description below, you can use my code PERFECT216 and get 50% off your first deposit. 50% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $1,000. And that's a lot of money to be getting free just for joining and drafting some teams on Underdog Fantasy. This is my favorite way to do it. This is how we draft over 500 teams already this year. It helps you prepare for your regular redraft leagues. It is the absolute best way to prepare, and you can win money while you're doing it. So there's no time commitment during the regular season because you do not have trades or waiver wires. You draft your teams like we're doing here, and the best players will play automatically. So you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. You just sit back and collect all the beautiful money you had earned while dominating your fantasy football drafts. All right, we're going to go Chris Olave here as our 4th wide receiver. And then I just don't like it. I'm going to go Pacheco. I'm going to jump my rankings a little bit. I'm going to move Caleb Johnson down. I really, really don't like him. I don't hate him, but I don't like him. Part of the reason is I'm extremely, extremely bullish on Jaylen Warren. He is the clear running back 1 in that offense right now. He's also ideally the pass catching running back in that offense. It's what he was used in last year. So he's more of a 3-down type back. He's got some juice. They're protecting him in the preseason, barely playing him, which is a great sign. And they're not even talking about an even split workload or none of that. And he's going so many rounds later in drafts than he is. I don't understand why he's being drafted in round 6 and round 7 in these drafts. It doesn't make sense to me. Said, sorry if I'm asking about any question. No, please, seriously, ask away. I love it. I love the interaction. It's fun. And you might be asking questions that other people want answered too, right? So you can ask 1,000 questions and I'm all about it. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? We're here to win together, draft together, and, have a little bit of fun doing it. Aaron Jones goes. There he goes. So Johnson goes at 82. A nice value on him based on where he's going, but I still don't think that's a great place for him. It's not terrible, but I think I'm going to update my rankings. And now Warren goes. Somebody pulled him up early. I just don't think that it's a good place to get him here. Like, I think he probably belongs in this tier. I would probably say, I would rather have Pacheco, Montgomery, Jones, Warren. Probably Tracy. All these guys, Swift, Harvey, Chuba. I would want all these guys over Johnson. I would have Johnson somewhere down here where Mixon's going in round 8. That would probably be ideal. Then I'd feel good. Then I'd say, hey, he's a rookie with upside on a run-first offense, blah, 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 blah. Then I'd say it makes sense. Were you on the Travion train before you started climbing up the ranks? I like him because I'm an Ohio State fan, so I watched him in college, and I think he's extremely talented, so I've followed him for a couple of years now, and he's got juice. He's definitely got the juice. I know people are just now seeing that because he had a 100-yard kickoff return in the preseason game, but I was not drafting a lot of him where he was getting drafted because I liked the players around him, not that I didn't like him. I actually regret not getting more of him in the season. So when I see him on the board and he shows up as a decent value, I definitely have been considering getting him in some drafts. All right, we're going to grab Higgins here. He's my highest rated player and the best on ADP, rookie. And then don't really need these quarterbacks. They don't correlate with our team. We can go Cooper Kupp. Oh, you know what? Never mind. Glad I saw it. We're going to grab Mark Andrews, first tight end, and that double stacks him and Zay Flowers with Lamar Jackson. That is a no-brainer. And Andrews hasn't shot up as much as I thought he was going to after the, all the scare and the injury with Isaiah Likely. But, people forget Mark Andrews is a year or two older than he was before. He's still in a great offense. He still had a strong red zone amount of targets last year, a lot of touchdowns. And he was going in rounds 2, 3, 4 the last few years. And now all of a sudden he's in round 9 and 10. And people are like, oh, this guy's horrible. I'd rather take, and Kelsey is the same way. These guys were round 1 and round 2 picks not too long ago, 2 years ago. And now we're saying that they're over the hill and they're going to be terrible picks. They're both on great offenses, pass first offenses, and Baltimore's not, but he's clearly a target in the red zone. I think the value is good. How about Kyle Williams? Do you think he'll get some time? I think he'll get time on the team, but the problem is with New England. I think New England's going to they're going to like rushing more with the 2 running backs they have now. I just think they got too many mouths to feed. And now that they have Diggs there, who is going to command targets, I think he will be I love Diggs with my Drake May teams. Love it. I think he's going to get fed. I think they want to love him. I think they want to make him their guy. And I think that's what, that's the kind of player he is. He demands targets. And I think they're going to give it to him. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to let this guy beg for it. So I just don't think there's going to be enough targets to go around and for Williams to pay off his ADP. I mean, he'll be okay, but I don't think he's the guy where you're like, all right, I'm going to get him in round 16, round 15, round 14, wherever he's going. I mean, he was going in round 10 or 11 earlier in the year. I don't think he could pay off his ADP, his value. It's just such a a high risk pick with so low reward. Like his ceiling is capped, in my opinion. There's other players I'd rather have. So I think he's a nice guy to have. If he was a round 18 pick, which sometimes now he's actually falling that far, and if I had Drake May, I'll throw him in there. But he's not even. Let me look at the depth chart for them right now, the updated depth chart. They have the updated depth chart: Stephon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams at the 3, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins, who's also been running with the starters, Kendrick Bourne. They still have 2 guys they drafted last year on the team: Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. Although Polk's been hurt. I don't hate Williams. I just don't love him. And if he keeps falling in drafts, then I'll probably take a little bit more of him. You're having familiar feelings about Pat Bryant. Yeah, Pat on Denver. I like him only for different reasons, that they don't really have too many other options of big body receivers. And so he definitely brings that to the table. And there was some coach speak that, it's just coach speak, but he's saying that he sees Michael Thomas in him. And once that came out in an interview from the coach, everyone freaked out and said, oh, this guy's going to be an absolute dominant alpha. But they forget the guy still has to be, he's still got to show it on the field. Like, that's not how it works. You don't just go, yeah, he's going to be, I see this trend of player like him. That's what he's going to be. And that's just what he becomes. That's not how it works. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Christian Kirk. I'm going to scroll down just so slightly and grab CJ Stroud. I've now double stacked our Houston friends with Jaden Higgins and Christian Kirk, and probably a pass first offense, especially with Mixon being injured and going to miss some time. Definitely shows CJ Stroud showed the juice that he could, be great. So I'm okay with that. Let me flip this around here. And I don't have too much Kirk, so I'm okay. I do want to get some more pieces in the running back room here soon, though, but we'll work that out. Might be a 6 running back team. When we get Houston, now we're kind of committed to Houston. We can see that Texans play the Chargers in Week 17. So as we kind of, process through that, we kind of need to consider, okay, is there a Charger somewhere down here? Do we want to, does Najee fall in our lap and make sense on this team, right? Does Quentin Johnson fall in our lap and make sense on this team? Those are things we think about when we, do a double stacked Houston team to get that bring back for Week 17. And we'll see if that plays out. And I still like some of the Chargers players. I think they still make some sense. The only one that I don't like, I like the player, don't like where he goes, is what I said earlier, which is not a fan of Ladd McConkey going in the second round. I think it's too high. All right. A little bit of a run on quarterbacks here in this round. I took Stroud, and then it kind of strung out, went into Goff went this round, McCarthy, Lawrence, Young, Penix, Tua, definitely running up on some quarterbacks here. Judkins. So if you didn't hear the news, Judkins was cleared or acquitted of his stuff. So the NFL still looks at things, but he's not signed yet, but he's going to probably be signed now. He did miss some training camp time. He hasn't played in the preseason yet, stuff like that. So Judkins will end up playing. I think drafting him in this 12, 13, 14 range is a great place to draft him and take some shots on him on your teams. And I've got a pretty good amount of Judkins, but I was getting him in like round 7 earlier in the year before all this happened. So glad that I guess that he's at least done with that. So if he does well, at least he's, I've still got some pieces of him on my team, but I'll have him at much higher draft cost than what most people will have. All right. We are going to go Ray Davis. Now we can either do Dylan Sampson, Jaden Blue, Najee. But I think Najee is going to go. Ray Davis goes first. And then I don't know. I think we'll go ahead and just grab him here. Just for that stacking correlation. I like a lot of running backs in this range. I liked Sampson before. He continues to rise a little bit, and I'm not sure I like that. He might go back down now that the news with, his running back mate probably going to be signed. Jaden Blue is somebody I didn't get a lot of, and everybody seems to want to draft him. And I don't know. The news in Dallas is that he's pretty good, but I'm struggling with his draft capital isn't good, and Dallas likes to pass first. They might stink completely. Who knows? I just don't know if he's even going to be a great click. Doesn't make me feel good to take Jaden Blue. So he might be the guy that cost me this year if he ends up breaking out. But I've been getting a lot of Javonte Williams. I think his value there, Javonte Williams is probably the running back one to start the year, could still stay in the mix all year long, and you get him around 11, where Blue I get around 13. It's not that much of a difference, really. And Blue may be a dead roster spot, and it's more likely to be than Williams. And then the guys that go around Blue, White is the 2 and a pass catcher in a pretty good offense that is pass first. Algier could be the best handcuff back and always has a role on that offense. Najee, we just talked about him. Trey Benson, I love Trey Benson this year. There's just so many other players, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, Tajay Spear. I like all these guys better than Blue. So I'm really, unless he falls, I would take Blue if he was here around the Eckler range, and all the other guys were gone. That's kind of where I'm at with him. Nicholas Chubb goes. Garendo goes. All right, let's talk about this. We're done at quarterback when we have Lamar and CJ Stroud because we have an elite quarterback and Lamar on the team. I'm definitely going to go 6 running backs, I feel like, on this team. At least that's what I think. I might change my mind. We could go a couple of different directions here. Usually when I get later in drafts like this, I tend to go more with my ranks versus ADP. I think if Sampson makes it back all the way from a 135 ADP to 168, he's dropping now because of the news of Judkins is probably going to be playing on this team. And then one of my favorite tight ends this year is Chig. Was pretty much a regular round 18 pick, and now he's not, because people are figuring out the guy is an athletic freak. All right. I'm going to grab another one of my guys that I really like. I'm going to grab Cedric Tillman, wide receiver 2 on the Browns, and then Chig for tight end. With Tillman, he's a 6'3" guy, athletic, just kind of showed some flashes last year, been a little bit banged up. Browns are going to have to throw. They have nobody behind him that are even worth talking about as a wide receiver name. And so he's got such an opportunity to crush this year with his ADP. I mean, he's going in rounds, 14, 15, 16 sometimes. I mean, sometimes he falls so far. Again, that's a guy where his draft is here, but he has a runway to be up here. So I want guys like that. I want guys who can well outplay their ADP and have a role in this team. I don't want to take, McMillan necessarily example who goes next to him over Tillman. Tillman's guaranteed to be the 2 unless he screws up or gets hurt. McMillan's probably the wide receiver 4 on his team. Might even be the 5th in targets because they've got a good tight end. So 1v1, I'd rather have him. Not to say that I don't like McMillan, the player. I just don't like where he goes. Isaiah Likely goes. I was asked the other day, can you take 2 of the same player on a team? Example, if I have Najee Harris, would you ever take Najee and Hampton on the same team? Or would you take both Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely on the same team? Yes, I would. I don't try and do that, but I'm not afraid to do it if the price is right, because you can still get enough value out of them. So I'm not going to look forward to doing that, but it's not something that will kill your team by doing it. Shamrock says, thanks for the info. Really appreciate it. Keep crushing these drafts. I'll catch up with you later. Enjoy the rest of your night. Hey, my friend, thank you for stopping by as always. Love having you here. Hopefully you are crushing your drafts as well. And looking forward to seeing you. I will definitely be on again tomorrow. I'm not done yet tonight, but I'll definitely be on tomorrow. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night as well, my friend. But get some rest and dream those $2 million Best Ball Mania dreams. Jackson Dart showing up in round 16. What is this guy doing? Jackson Dart. I do like Jackson Dart. He does have Neighbors, so that makes sense. He paired him up with Neighbors. It's the only time Jackson Dart makes sense right now. But y'all know my feelings on Jackson Dart is I think he was the best quarterback in this draft class. I said it before the draft. I said it during the draft. I said it after the draft. And I think he'll get on the field this season depending on how well the Giants play. I think they're still going to find a way to get him on the field. All right, so I'm probably going to get one more tight end. I'm done at quarterback. We've got 3 picks left. 1 running back, 1 tight end, and probably 1 receiver is what I'll do here. We got all these receiver options, and we're getting a little thinner at the other places. So I'm going to grab my man Cade Otton. I get tons of him. I think he's a great value. We could go Woody Marks. Oh, I'm going to do it. Woo, snuck him in there. I don't have a lot of Woody Marks. They're saying he's a pass catching back that could end up in a role. We do have CJ Stroud, so it does kind of somewhat correlate. I don't mind sprinkling in guys like this on my teams in case I feel like I need it. So we got one more pick. It's a luxury pick. So we either go 6th running back or we go 8th wide receiver. And I am leaning wide receiver here. Actually, I just need to tell myself the wide receiver is the right decision. And we'll pull some up. And then I think we will do one more draft tonight. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know if we'll finish the whole draft, but I'll at least start it. And then I may have to finish it on my phone. We'll see how it goes. But we'll recap this team, and then we'll get into one more. I'm thinking this weekend I'm going to pop into that Great Dane draft, that $200 buy-in draft. I think I'm going to crack into that. Crack into that one. If you are just joining, please like and subscribe on the channel. I do go live every night between 10 and midnight usually, drafting 2 or 3 teams every night at least. We are talking everything from draft strategy, draft placement, player strategy, player takes, data on players, how that impacts redraft leagues. I will take your questions, anything you want to know, trade questions, draft questions, fantasy football questions. You want to talk about anything at all. It doesn't even have to be fantasy football. We're here. We're just looking forward to having a good time. If you learn anything, great. Hit the like button. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button. If you just stop by and go, I don't know if I like this guy, hit the like button anyway. It's the nice thing to do. And I very much appreciate it. If you've never been drafting in best ball teams before, my favorite place to do it is here on Underdog Fantasy. And if you are in any of these wonderful yellow states here, I've put up on the screen, and you meet the age requirements, you can draft on Underdog Fantasy. You can use my promo code PERFECT216 when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and get a 50% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $1,000. And that is a lot of money that you can get free by drafting for your first time and joining on Underdog Fantasy. They have the biggest tournaments in the world. That's what we're playing right now. We're playing for $2 million. And who doesn't like to draft a whole bunch of teams? I'm over 500 teams this year already. I've been very profitable doing this the last 4 years, winning over $10,000 every year. And you can do the same thing. Follow my lead. I'm here to help. All right, let's grab our last wide receiver. Let's see. Who do we want to sprinkle in here? I'm going to avoid bye week 6 just for fun. Let's see. Who do I want to sprinkle in? We could do a triple Baltimore here if we really wanted to and get DeAndre Hopkins, but I kind of want to mix up some other guys that I don't have as much of. All right, well, I guess there's not as many as I thought there would be. What's on ADP? And we're on the clock. All right, tell you what. We will go with Trey Tucker. Don't have a ton of him. Actually, no, I lied. Jalen Naylor. I like Naylor. All right, so we are finished with this team. Of course, they lagged it. There it is. Let's recap it real quick. We got Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud at quarterback, running back Josh Jacobs, Isaiah Pacheco, Ray Davis, Najee Harris, Woody Marks at running back. Wide receiver, we have Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave, Jaden Higgins, Christian Kirk, Cedric Tillman, Jalen Naylor. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews, Chig Okonkwo, and Chade Otton. We double stacked Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers with Lamar Jackson. We double stacked with CJ Stroud, Jaden Higgins, and Christian Kirk. And actually, I guess it's kind of a pseudo triple stack because we have Woody Marks as well. We do have Josh Jacobs on Green Bay for the Week 17 bring back against Baltimore because they play each other in Week 17. And then Houston, we do have a bring back because they play the Chargers week 17, and we have Najee Harris. So there's a little bit of a bring back there with the Chargers. So pretty good team. I like some of the differences we did here drafting from the 101. I do not normally get Lamar Jackson. I haven't usually used him here in a Chase or Jacobs team. So that feels nice. It's feeling nicey, as my man John Gruden would say. So let's do this. Let's slide this over. Do we want to do another Best Ball Mania tonight? We have 41 more shots at this thing. I think I will hold on that. We could do a Husky $40 entry, Husky 2. And the Great Dane, this is the $200 entry I will probably do tomorrow. So if you are here tomorrow, you may want to jump on because that might be the one we do. Let's do the Husky. Let's see if it'll fill. If it'll fill, we'll do this. If not, we will pivot over to a smaller one. All right, it's waiting on 9 people. We'll give it just a minute. But if it doesn't fill, I'm going to move to a different one. If you're in this room and you want to draft live with us, you can go here right now onto this tournament, click on the Husky, join, and you will join our lobby because there are 9 spots open in this lobby. I don't think we're going to get in, though. Usually the higher money ones are much harder to get filled as quickly as the other ones because there's less people that are going to be willing to, put $40 on one draft, for example. All right, we're going to have to leave this one, and we'll come back and maybe give that one a shot tomorrow. So we can do a puppy draft. We can do a $10 flock one. I don't think I've done the 7 yet. Let's do that. Let's do the $10 flock draft. And this one's waiting for 1 person. So if you want to join, we have 1 slot open in this room. Would love to have you join and draft with us. While we're waiting, let me change the banner here because we are not in a $25 entry tournament anymore. We have moved on over to the Flock Contest 7. And we'll pop that bad boy back up. Still 1 more slot open for this draft, and then it will fill, and we will get started. I do appreciate you guys being here. Something about drafting fantasy football teams that really just kind of takes you away from what's going on in your day-to-day life and allows you to have a little bit of fun. I love drafting teams. I like tournaments. I like a little bit of gambling in there. And this is my favorite way to do it. I don't have to do all that heavy lifting and work when you're doing these best ball drafts because the best players play automatically for you. And since we're waiting real quick, let me show you one more thing. With these tournaments, with best ball, the scoring is half PPR. I don't think I've ever shared that before. It's half point per reception. And on your roster construction, you have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 tight end that have to play every week, and then 10 others on your bench. So this is why we only get 2 to 3 quarterbacks because only 1 can play each week. Why only get 2 to 3 tight ends on a team because only 1 can play each week, and the highest scoring one will play. 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and then that flex can be a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end. So that's kind of why we do what we do. And here is the fill. We are pick 5 in this one. So we started out tonight with pick 12. We had last draft where we got pick 1. And now we're pick 5. I like it. I got my foot stuck to the chair here. I was trying to get on a little bit earlier tonight, but as I shared earlier, my My 9-year-old had baseball practice tonight, so we had a couple of hours of that and trying to haul in our 3 kids in the house and get them settled took a little bit longer than I thought. So, all right, Jamar Chase goes at the 1. Obviously, this draft could go weird because we have a lot of non-badge drafters. So if you're not sure and you go, hey, why does this guy have a red badge? Me. Why do some people have a black badge? I will cover that in just a second after we make our pick. So we're on the clock. We got options. We're going to take CeeDee Lamb. I don't have a ton of CeeDee Lamb this year because I end up getting other players, but I like him. I think he's a great pick where he goes. So let me see if I can find the badge things. I think they have avatars. So I think it's down here. Maybe not. They used to have. So like I have the spotted hound dog because I've cashed in 50 contests. The dash in here, I got this one because I've deposited over $500 in my lifetime, etc. So there's different ways to unlock these things. But I was trying to find where those. Actually, let's just change our color. Let's do that. Let's go green. Maybe we should go purple. Let's go purple to finish this one off. Let me save that. All right, let's get back into our draft. All right, we're about to be on the clock. I will look it up real quick for you guys in just a second. So I really hope A.J. Brown comes back. That's what I'm looking for here. And he does. That makes me happy. So we're going to get CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown to start us off. That's great. A.J. Brown normally doesn't quite make it down this far. CeeDee Lamb lately has been on the left side of the board, so it's going to be a little bit rare to have a CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown team, and that is fantastic. We're trying to win some money here. This draft is, I believe, 10,000 to first place, so that's what we're going to shoot for. A lot less teams in these flock contests. You can only draft 3 teams only. So let's see. I'm going to try and look up this. Because now I've been over here looking at. Okay. So the badges. The black badges signify an experienced player, typically having played in 500 or more contests or won at least 6 contests with prizes of 2,500 or more. A red badge denotes a highly experienced player, indicating participation of 1,000 or more contests, winning at least 4 contests with prizes of 1,000 or more each. So that hopefully will clarify for you a little bit. Let's do this. Let's sprinkle in some Amarian Hampton here in the 3rd round. I probably, now, if I was paying attention a little closer, I probably should have just grabbed Trey McBride, if I'm being honest. But we're here now. So it is what it is. Hampton might be a smash, right? I do feel like Underdog is missing a little bit of an opportunity with these badges and dogs and stuff to like, maybe add some additional badges to create some more uniqueness. They can still be badge drafters, but which signifies experienced players on here. But I do think it, it'd be kind of fun to, like, if you've won a tournament, for example, you can, have a badge or whatever. That might give people different options. Just a thought. Speaking of which, I have to follow up. I emailed Underdog a little bit back Oh my gosh, I just saw an absolute team. Look at this. This team on the right, Team 12. They started out Drake May, Josh Allen. They have 3 quarterbacks. They don't make any sense. This draft is screwed up because of this guy. They don't have a clue what they're doing. So this draft could get really weird for us and really fun really fast. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. All right, we've got options here. George Pickens goes. So we're in a spot where ADP-wise, George Kittle makes sense. However, we're going to get Jalen Hurts instead because he correlates as we have A.J. Brown. So we can stack them together. He's still a good value. And he's an elite quarterback at a position that, can score the most points in a week typically. And with the way this room's been drafted, who knows? Maybe George Kittle falls all the way back down to us anyway, which would be absolutely disgusting. He does not. I've never seen George Kittle go to the 5th round, so that would have been kind of disgusting to see it. But this room is doing some weird stuff. Really weird stuff. But I'm here for it. I am all here for it. Scroll this down. I think I've never done this yet this year, and that's get the double stack with Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. So this feels really cool to be able to do this because I haven't done it this year one time that I can recall. I might have had it once. So that's pretty rare to have that 5-man stack. And the reason it's rare is Brown normally goes on the right side of the board, not on the left. Never pairs with Lamb almost ever. And then Smith is usually on the left side of the board. So to get them both merged together here makes this a pretty rare team. So this team, if the Eagles have a dominant offense again, they throw more than they did the last year, which I think they're going to do, and they go off in week 15, 16, 17 in the fantasy football playoffs, this team is set up to make a ton of money. A ton. And by a ton, I mean, in this particular draft, $10,000. One of the things that I'll say, like, I know I titled this draft, how do you, what did I even call this one? Or this stream? I think I said, how to crush your fantasy football drafts, right? So, hang on one second. Got some things coming around. Definitely have some options here. Stefon Diggs goes. We're going to get Rome or Sticky Ricky here. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Rome. Year 2 receiver and an increased offense. Think he could definitely go off and have a breakout year. He hasn't broken out yet, which means he's got a higher ceiling, and we want high ceiling players on our teams, Fantasy Dog. Hey, Shamrock was here. He, I think he might have just headed out, but he was here for our first couple of drafts. Good to see you, my friend. Always like elite quarterback. Yeah, this has been a weird draft room, and this team, listen, if you look at the 3 teams I've drafted tonight, I love all 3 of them. Drafted from the 12, drafted from the 1, and now from the 5. And strategies have been similar but different. I had a double running back start. I have had an anchor start. Had elite quarterback start. But all these teams have correlated well, so it's been great. Let's see what is left for us here. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on in this room. I really don't. Really, really don't. We're just going to take the fallers just to keep the ADP going. We'll take Deebo Samuel. So this is just a weird, weird draft. So what I was going to say, if you guys are, getting ready for your redraft leagues and you're saying, hey, what's my strategy need to be? How do I know what to do? Does it matter if I'm pick 1, pick 5, pick 12? Yes to all of that. It all matters. But what matters more is how you adjust. In your regular redraft leagues, you want to be smarter than the rest of your league mates. And the way to do that is understanding, supply and demand. You need to understand your league mates and their styles. If you got somebody on there who absolutely loves Eagles players, they're going to get pulled way earlier than they should. And you might have a guy like Boone over here who's drafted 4 quarterbacks and doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Let those guys make the mistakes and you just scoop up the value and appreciate it later. That's how you win. That's usually a big part of it. You got to be willing to adapt. All right. Bo Nix goes. Shakir goes. I kind of wanted Shakir because of when I have Philadelphia on my team, we want the week 17 bring back. Jaden Reed goes. This is just a really weird draft, my friends. Really weird draft. All right. I think it's time to sneak in a couple of running backs here at this point. I guess I'll go with Brian Robinson here. And actually, now that I'm doing this, it does make sense because Washington and Dallas play week 17. So I already have a little bit of week 17 bring back correlation for that when I do that. My man, Jaylen Warren, is still here. He is my favorite player where he goes in drafts this year, or one of my favorite players. He is one of my guys at the running back position. And I absolutely would love to get him here at the 101. But we do need to have some backup plans. So Keon Coleman seems like a great backup plan. If they both go, Hawkinson wouldn't be terrible either. This room is just broken. Hawkinson goes. So Warren or Coleman, that's what we're doing. All right, we're going to go Warren. Why? Because he's fantastic. I'm going to leave Coleman up here because the way these drafts have been going in this room, he may not even be drafted, and he'll still be on our team, which would be absolutely crazy. The other thing I want to look at, though, now is Dak Prescott is coming around as well, and he would pair up with CeeDee Lamb. So we need to kind of keep that in mind. What a weird room. Fancy Dog says, wow, that 12 spot is crazy. Had one last night. First pick, Gardner Minshew got worse than there. Oh, my gosh. I wish I was watching a guy draft Gardner Minshew. That would be, just fantastic. Now, just you watch. This year, Gardner Minshew is going to sign on a team where all the quarterbacks get hurt. And he wins, he lights it up in weeks 15, 16, 17. And we're going to say, you know what? That guy was right. We're not. Don't listen to me. That's not going to happen. Would be hilarious. If that happens, I need to stop drafting fantasy football teams. That's what needs to happen. This draft won't get canceled as long as he comes around. Yeah, I always worry about draft canceling, but I feel like last year a lot more drafts got canceled than this year. Last year there were definitely a lot more drafts being canceled. All right, so the fun part about this is Keon Coleman is still here. Oh, spoke too soon. Put that out there in the world and lost it. We'll grab a man, Dak Prescott. Makes sense here. Pair him up with CeeDee Lamb. Be done at quarterback. And keep things rolling. Really and enjoying this team. I'm going to continue to take advantage of fallers and values that people are giving me here. If this room wants to give us some crazy stuff, we should just say thank you and move right along. I think, oops. Well, I was going to click on Ramondre as an option too. I think one of these tight ends is probably going to be my decision here. Don't need the quarterbacks. Don't like the wide receivers. I do like the running backs, but I'm going to queue up Ray Davis just in case he comes back to me. These are all guys that make sense with where our team's going here. Marvin Mims goes. Since I like the other tight ends that are coming behind, I'm going to go ahead and not do Njoku. I'm going to do Ray Davis here. Get the Buffalo piece to go with the Philadelphia stack for the Week 17 bring back. I think that's the smarter way to do this, because there's plenty of tight end options coming up that I'm comfortable with. And the running backs, not necessarily as much. So I think I think we played that correctly. Feels like it. He's with Kansas City, isn't he? Who are we talking about? Sorry, I missed. What did I miss? Oh, Gardner Minshew. Yeah, I think he is. Let me look that up. See if I can find him. But I think you're right. I think he is with Gardner. Yeah, he's on the Chiefs. So, like, to your point, that would be kind of crazy. Can you imagine if, knock on wood, Patrick Mahomes goes down and all of a sudden it's like Minshew time in the playoffs on a high-performing offense, and he just lights it up. And that guy comes in and goes, Galaxy brain, I knew this was the year. He hasn't been hurt much, but this is the year. And he's been drafting like 20%, 20% of this guy. All right, so okay, we've got some decisions to make here. Do I go Dallas Goedert and get a ridiculous triple stack on Philly? I have not done that much. Or do I just take Kincaid? I think I'm just going to take Kincaid. And then if it's meant to be an 8 picks, he's coming back anyway. And we just let it go, right? And we get the big stack and just say it's meant to be. That's how you get these unique teams. If I reach on them, of course I get him. But if I can get both of them, then my value could go up. And he's gone. Maybe LC Dog was in our draft and he heard me say it. All right. Do we do Pitts, Palmer, or Blue? Pitts, Palmer, Blue. What do you guys like? Pitts, Palmer, Blue? Oh, it's not going to be Pitts. So I'm going to go Palmer. We're really I'll tell you what, though. If Buffalo and Philly Week 17 go off, we've got that game covered. If Dallas and Washington go off, we got that game covered. I like it. This team, that's how this team wins $10,000. Dogs is Blue. Yeah, I probably should have. I mean, he's still there. Maybe he'll come back. I don't have a lot of blue. I want someone to sell me why I need to draft Jaden Blue more. I talked about it earlier, and I can't get there. This would be a team where he would make sense because I have Dak Prescott, and I do have Washington players for the bring back, so it does make sense on this team. But I'm not there on Blue. I think he's not going to be. I think that there's a better chance that Jaden Blue is a dead roster spot than there is that he's the number one running back on the team or that relevant for fantasy purposes. And so I don't like the odds and the math on it. And there's not enough news at camp negative about who's in front of him or juice behind him being so great that it's going to make me believe it. Now, it could change. Who knows? Preseason week 2, maybe the guy rushes like 5 times for, 120 yards somehow, catches 2 more passes, falls in the end zone 3 times, and everyone's like, this guy's the next coming of, Adrian Peterson or something, and I'm missing it. I don't know. Doubtful, but all right. You know what though? I like Brenton Strange here. I haven't gotten too much of him, but he's clearly going to be the guy in Jacksonville, and they definitely like Trevor Lawrence has shown he likes to throw to his tight end, and he can support a top 5 finishing tight end with the way that offense is played with him. So it feels good to throw him in here. And I would ideally like to get Tyler Algier here as our 5th running back. That would be my goal. The pie in the sky, if you will. If you will. And that was my Dusty Rhodes impression right there, baby. James Foster on YouTube, rookie running backs. Got it. He loves Blue, but admits he could be out of league. Yeah, I mean, you got to take chances to win money and do these things, right? But and I've thrown him on a few teams, but I don't know how much I want to be in on Blue this year. I'm not there yet. I still can't get there. Thank you for my love on my Dusty. It's not something that I practice often in the bathroom or anything, but Torrey Horton's a fun click. I like he goes there at the 15-6. I like him. I liked him in college. I liked his combine. I like him in a Seattle offense that's trying to rechange their wide receiver room with a new quarterback and a whole new outlook on their team. They obviously drafted him, which means that regime likes him. He's got decent draft capital. He's been getting good news in preseason and the training camps. And I think he's going to have a role as the 3 on that offense. I don't know. I kind of like Horton. I've gotten a decent amount of him. Well, look, Christian Watson goes. Fantastic. Last year, the guy was going in every draft. This year, he's not even going in any drafts. Although I do have him in one Best Ball Mania draft in like pick 18 before I realized he has a very low chance of playing at all this season. All right. What are we doing? I don't like anybody right now. I guess I got to pick somebody. Give me my last tight end. Give me my rookie with Seattle who showing some juice. I'll take that. All right, we need a couple more receivers for sure, and I think that's all we got left. So we're definitely going to we'll stop at 5 running backs, 2 2 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends. Will be wide receiver on the way out. This might be the team where I need to double stack Dallas and grab Jalen Tolbert along with someone else. We're at pick 197 and Quentin Johnston's still here. That feels like probably the right decision because that's kind of a rare thing. So I'm going to go with QJ. I do like the big Q. I got a lot of the big Q last year and he paid off pretty well for me. So I guess we'll stick him on this team. He has earned the place on the roster. And then we'll finish it off with Tolbert. And then we'll recap the team. And this is sort of like golf. Can I help you with your golf game? Can I send you a link to that James Foster guy? You'll like him. Yeah. Just shoot it. Just put a link in the comments. I'll definitely check them out. I do golf a little bit. I am not a huge, I don't get out enough, but I do enjoy golfing when I can. I used to golf a lot more when I was when I lived back in Ohio with my family. My dad, my younger brother, and I would golf every Tuesday or Wednesday or something. We would golf together, and that was kind of a cool bonding thing that we had, which I enjoy. But I don't necessarily do it because I'm trying to be the best, but I'm okay. I can hold my own. I have impressed many people with my talents, but I'm not joining the tour anytime soon. And actually, fun fact, I was named after Jack Nicklaus because my dad loved golf also. And Jack Nicklaus was his favorite golfer. And my name is Nick because he liked Jack Nicklaus. So there's a fun golfing fact for you. All right. We'll get Jalen Tolbert here. Let's recap this team. It's getting a little late. This is going to be our last one for the night. All right, we got Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott at quarterback, Omarion Hampton, Brian Robinson Jr., Jaylen Warren, Ray Davis, Tyler Algier at running back. Wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Rome Odunze, Deebo Samuel, Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, Jalen Tolbert. Tight end, we have Dalton Kincaid, Brenton Strange, Elijah Arroyo. We did a double stack with Dallas with Tolbert, CeeDee Lamb, stacked up with Dak Prescott. We do have a Week 17 bring back with Brian Robinson Jr. and Deebo for Washington. So that feels really nice. We do have a double stack with Philly with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, stacked up with Jalen Hurts, which feels disgusting because I haven't gotten that all year. And we have Buffalo, Ray Davis, Josh Palmer, and Dalton Kincaid as the Week 17 bring back. So this team is definitely set up to smash in the playoffs if it gets there. Love how this worked out. I'll say a quick shout out to my man at pick 12 who completely screwed up his draft and said, I don't really need to be here. I'm just wasting my time. Well, we all thank you for that because you have now provided us the means to crush this contest and win this tournament. So I will say thank you for that, my good sir. So, yeah. All right. That's going to be it tonight. I appreciate you, Fantasy Dog, and all those that have stopped by. I would love it if y'all would throw a like and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. We will be on again tomorrow for sure. I'm going to be on both tomorrow and Sunday. There's no reason why I can't be. I might even try and sneak in a double stream tomorrow if I can. My 9-year-old has baseball practice from 11 to 1, so I know I will not be here for that, but I may be able to sneak in an early afternoon and then another nighttime session tomorrow because we are in the middle of the heat of draft season, and we are trying to win a whole bunch of cash here on Underdog. And I hope everyone's getting ready for the redraft leagues. Get into Underdog, draft some teams, and get some practice in. So when you get in there with your regular redraft league mates, you can absolutely dominate them because you have more experience than they do. and you are prepared for anything that comes your way. Thank you guys again. Appreciate everybody. Y'all have a good evening or morning, depending on what time it is and what you're doing. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good night.